Last time we were doing on tolerance, isn't it? Second one. We'll complete it today. Huh? You have the Papa show, or I have to give it? Huh? You have it? Okay. Is that something to keep this one here? Hare Krishna. What is the heading? What title of it? Actually, I have 5, 6 files. I have. Take it. Which one?
Part 1. Part 1.
How much is the number? Number how much? Like 5. Huh? Yeah. How much is it? 5 602.
4.89 MB exactly.
Okay.
You want, I can give it.
You can give me that only, same thing. Because I have many versions of it. This is the one, I think. This one.
Part 1. Part 1, comma. It starts with part 1.
Correct. This is the one. Yeah. Yeah. So we have done up to tolerance, huh? All that is over.
This is not this was.
What is humility? Okay. Yeah. You go ahead with that. Excellent. Go ahead further. We are not going to go through this. We are going to over. No, directly go to tolerance, my third one. Tolerance. It is 16th slide, 16th. Yeah, this is all right.
Put up the point.
Last time, I think we discussed this. We didn't discuss it, right? Okay. Hare Krishna. We will. Okay, all uncertainties, complexities, contradictions. This can be somewhere here, I can just see it. You can keep it here. So these are called as 8 attitudes of effective leadership. These are very vital qualities when you are dealing with a team of devotees. Hey, this is going to get hit now. When you are dealing with a group of people, yeah. Okay. See, all uncertainties, complexities, contradictions require a lot of tolerance to solve. I'll just explain each of it. So when you are working as a team, there may be many uncertainties. Because we are living in a world of uncertainties. Like for example, you decided that this weekend we will distribute books. You took a meeting with all the devotees and everybody planned and everybody was enthusiastic. So Saturday, Sunday you were planning to distribute books. Suddenly, Friday happened to be some Raksha Bandhan, or Monday happened to be some kind of national holiday or something. Sometimes 3 days in a row. And all the boys run away on Friday only. And nobody is there. So then, when you go to the hostel with all the books and boxes, there is nobody to distribute books. All rooms are locked up. So when devotees come back with the disappointment, sometimes there is a quarrel amongst devotees. People say, what a foolish decision we made. We went to hostel, we couldn't sell a single book. Hardly there was anybody. Because this is a world of uncertainty. Like sometimes suddenly there is a cricket match. Sometimes there is a postponement in dates also sometimes. Some other date was earlier decided and then now they postponed it. So the preachers have to be very alert to what is going on in the outside world. So that they can plan very nicely, otherwise the plans will be foiled. But even despite planning very nicely, still there are uncertainties. You cannot be very sure. Yeah. And there are complexities also. Like for example, you arranged, in those days we realized many things by committing mistakes. Like we would call all the boys to a room to do a program, and outside there will be 20 chapel pairs and lying. And then inside preaching is going on, and some seniors go and report to the warden, there are so many chapels outside. Then they directly come to the room and ask what's going on. Then that will be the end of the device program there. You see. Then after that they made a plan. All chapels will be put in a carry bag and kept inside. Along with the boys, the chapels also will be sitting in one corner. They kept like that. So, this is a very complex world, and many times we are likely to commit mistakes. If devotees don't tolerate each other, then we are likely to hurt each other. Sometimes somebody went to preach in a hostel, they left all the chapels outside, and the session 3 was going on, and warden came, and the whole thing was ended. So some leaders may scold them. What a foolish thing! Why did you leave the chapels outside? Don't you know this? Because of this, your program is foiled. So why we scold devotees? Because preaching is hampered. But in the course of scolding them, our relationship can get spoiled. So we have to tolerate complexities, which may arise in situations. Okay, you had all good intention to conduct the device, but what to do? Somehow or other you are not aware of this. You kept chapels outside. Anyway, now we cannot do it. Now in future we will see. But be careful. At least next time when you do it, you do it. That's all we have to say. So there are uncertainties, there are complexities, and also there are contradictions. They also require a lot of tolerance to solve. Sometimes two good devotees have completely opposite ideas on how to do a thing. Like you see, Lakshman was very confident that nothing will happen to Ram. At the same time, Sita was very concerned. What will happen to Ram? Maybe somebody has hit Ram with arrow or something and he is screaming, hey Sita, hey Lakshman. She was very concerned about Ram's safety. Whereas Lakshman was very confident. So one is confident, one is concerned. Contradiction. So Lakshman feels there is no need to go to save Ram. And Sita feels immediately you have to go. And both are large devotees. One is Lakshmi, one is Ananta. Ananta and Lakshmi are having problem. Quarrel, you see. One is Ananta Shesh, and one is Lakshmi, and both are very close devotees to the Lord, you see. And even at that level there can be sometimes contradictions and differences in opinion. Somebody can do this keeps going off. You can just I think not that one here. You make the screen survive forever. It dies off every 1 minute. So contradictions also. It requires tolerance to solve contradictions. If you don't have tolerance, there will be terrible fights. If there are differences in opinions, you push something down the throat of people and tell them to accept it. They may keep mum, but they will not follow. You will see that many times when as a leader you make decisions on how things should be done. Then when there are contradictions, we should be willing to hear out the contradiction. What is the contradiction? Why a person has a different opinion, or is there an element of truth in what he is feeling? Maybe his idea may be a better idea. You have seen when you are preaching in a college, sometimes you say we will go for book discussion this weekend, and somebody else says no, next weekend will be better, all boys will be back. But then you may say all boys will be back, but seniors also will be back. They will trouble them not to buy, so better we distribute this time only. And he may say no, if you go this time, only few will be distributed. So he is really not for it. So there are people going to come up with contradicting points, opinions. Generally, we should try to keep the spirit very positive in all the meetings. Whenever devotees come together, so the person leading the meeting has to be a very tolerant person. Now we will come to the subsequent qualities which are connected to this, you will see. Then you will appreciate it even more. What is the meaning of tolerance here? Tolerance means willingness to listen, which came earlier, humility. See, here the word love is used. Why love? If you love the person, who sometimes commit mistakes, or sometimes is proposing an idea which is practically not viable, still you can tolerate, isn't it? See, where there is love, it is very easy to tolerate. And where there is, lack of relationship and lack of trust, immediately you will find, you will be made offender for a word. What's the meaning of offender for a word? One small thing you say, immediately there will be opposition. You will see that. That's called as making offender for a word. So, we are living in a world of uncertainties, complexities, contradictions. Uncertainties also include this. For example, you told a devotee to bring projector to the program. He brought the projector. You are about to start the program, and suddenly you find the projector doesn't work. He's putting the light on, he's turning this knob, that knob, trying this 15 minutes. Isn't it? I told you about Gaurang Prabhu in MIT. Isn't it? Isn't it? It's MIT USA, Massachusetts. Even they can have a problem in having a projector on. And Gaurang Prabhu was giving a seminar on anger management. And that man tried this way, that Gaurang Prabhu said, throw this away, get another one. You are after all MIT, you must be having dozens of projectors. And they said, yes sir, we do have, but today is weekend and all people lock up and go away. No, we don't have. This is the only one. We thought it will work, but it's not working. What to do? And then that man finally came to Gaurang Prabhu. In the ears he whispered, and he was an Indian man only there. So he said, आज projector काम नहीं करने वाला है. जो चलाना आप चलाओ, जो भी बोलना बोल दो, बस. He said it will not work. And Gaurang Prabhu looked at him like this. And he said, don't be angry, because your seminar is on anger management. So these are uncertainties, is it not true? We require tolerance. That's why Krishna says, Prabhupada gives two examples, summer kitchen and winter bath. In 2.14. You see, summer kitchen is very hot, winter bath is very cold, but you have to tam stitikshasva bharata. He says, just tolerate it. You require to learn tolerance, he says, in this type of situations. I am very sure every one of you in your life, you must have faced this kind of situations where, and we all have different levels of tolerance in such pressing situations. Material world surely brings forth unpleasant situations. Ishta anishtopapadishu. Ishta anishta. Ishta means pleasurable, anishta means painful. Like you told somebody to organize a one-time program, and they said, Prabhu, we are expecting at least 300 to 400 boys. Wonderful program. You have arranged in the auditorium. When you hear the auditorium, you are wondering, oh, it must be a grand program. And you go to the auditorium, you find about 10, 12 boys there. Nobody is there. and your lecture can become tainted by your disappointment. It's very likely. Your lecture also sometimes gets toned down when enthusiastic audience is not present, isn't it? So you feel like firing the fellow who's the organizer. You said, 300 boys will come and there are 12 people here, and we brought and sometimes you find number of devotees are more than the attendees. They bring, halwa, all the buckets, isn't it? They bring buckets, they bring, books, and they bring malas, they bring book table. Number of devotees are, everybody is, wearing pant shirt. All are devotees only. The guys, number of guys sitting are very few. So you get disappointed. So what we have to do? Tolerate. So what Prabhupada did, they told Prabhupada the grand program.
Increase the time for that.
This is not going good.
No, that is different than this.
Oh,
This is only for my life. You see, Prabhupada told them to arrange it. Now I have to learn to tolerate now. You make it 1 or 2 hours. So, Srila Prabhupada was also told that they have arranged a huge program in one hall. And they expected practically a few thousands of people, and only 7 people came. And then the night, devotees' faces became very small. They were so unhappy. See, this is very important to understand. The organizers, we have to know that they are also equally disappointed, like us. And that is why we have to tolerate. Not that they are very happy, we told Prabhupada 2,000 people, only 7 came. No, they are also very pained to see the response. And what did Prabhupada tell them? Don't worry, so many demigods came, Narada came, Brahma came, and so many devatas and rishis came and attended the program. And don't worry, that's what Prabhupada told them in the night. And the next day morning, Prabhupada told them something else. Next day, he called the organizers and said, in Bengal, Prabhupada said, one man had a mango orchard and he got Alfonso mangoes. So he arranged for people to go home to home and distribute the mangoes, free of cost. So when they went to distribute mangoes, and people started asking, such a beautiful mango free of cost? Then there must be something wrong. They thought maybe he has put some intoxicants or something, and when you eat the mango you will faint and then they will loot the house. So they thought like that. People said, we don't want this. We don't want this free stuff, take it back. And Prabhupada said, later on the man understood, people don't value the free commodities. And Prabhupada said, then he started charging them 10 rupees per mango, then they happily purchased it. And Prabhupada gave that example and told them that if you want to arrange a program, you have to make it a program which people want to attend. Like, Discover Yourself, sometimes we charge 300 rupees. And people are happy to come. You say, we want you to come and attend, we will give you the course free. Then they look up and down. Oh, it's a free course? What kind of course is that? So they don't want to, they think it's a cheap course. So Prabhupada said you have to charge the people. Of course for students we can't charge much in India because they're poor fellows. But we can charge something. The idea is, so the whole idea is Prabhupada tolerated. Yeah. So, and then Prabhupada told them that you people arrange this big program but without planning, proper planning. So next time you plan and arrange, more people will come. So this means, this requires some quality called stitiksha, which is tolerance. Even after facing failure, still we should be able to tolerate and rectify the situation. And just like enthusiasm, there's a definition of enthusiasm. Enthusiasm means to go from one failure to another failure without losing any energy and momentum. Like a ball, you throw a ball on the ground, but it just bounces back, you see. Like that enthusiasm means, you face one failure, no problem. Again, you jump back and get into action again with full confidence. That is enthusiasm. So, for maintaining our enthusiasm, we need tolerance. Otherwise, the enthusiasm will be lost, isn't it? Oh, they said 3,000 people will come, 7 people came, let us put a towel on our head and go back. No more preaching now. No, we have to tolerate. So it requires a lot of tolerance to solve. Tolerance is the ability to work in turbulent, high pressure demanding situations. Yeah. Actually, what is this? Hare Krishna, yeah. So, high pressure situation means what? Sometimes when we want to accomplish a great goal, there are many egos involved in it. Many people's egos involved in it, and people have different ideas on how to do things, and there can be collision. There can be clashes of ideas, clashes of interest, clashes of people wanting credit to grab the credit, people wanting to capture the limelight. So these kind of things can happen when different people come. We may say we are all devotees, or devotees not free from any motivations. Yes, devotees are free from motivations when they become pure devotees. When you are not at pure, so there are people at lower natures, and people are still not free from ignorance, passion, and goodness. So we have to work with such people. And when you are working, sometimes there can be high pressure. Why high pressure and demanding? Somebody may not cooperate. Somebody may last minute drop the responsibility. Sorry, I cannot do it. So somebody said they will do something, and the last minute they dropped it. What will you do? It becomes a demanding situation. It becomes crisis. Or somebody said they will do it, and you have assumed that they will do it, and you found later on that they didn't keep up the promise. Later on you come to know. At least somebody tells in advance. Somebody doesn't tell also. So this puts leaders into high pressure. High pressure means suddenly you get a phone call. Prabhu, the boys are waiting. There are 500 boys waiting in the hall, and the program is about to start. They said they're starting at 5 o'clock and nobody has come. And what happened? The person is caught up in traffic somewhere. Sometimes it happens. Like once a preacher went to a program, so he wanted to start the program, but the projector didn't come, and the projector was in the traffic, and the leader was trying to give some jokes to the audience and keep them, enjoying, clapping hands and joking, laughing. He tried this for 10 minutes, and after that they said, "We had enough of fun. Please start the program. Otherwise, we will get late." So he said, "Yes, I am waiting for the projector to come." You see, and then they told him that, "See, whatever time projector comes, from that time, you have to fit it between 5 to 6. You cannot go beyond that." You understand, no? So sometimes these situations lead us to high pressure. So tolerance is the ability to work in turbulent, high pressure, demanding situations. Leader must be able to take criticism without reacting or feeling it as a burden. Generally, criticisms act like a burden on our heads. When somebody gives criticism, it's the reason mainly is because you are not the culprit always. Somebody else has done a mistake for which you are held accountable. That causes more pain to us. Actually, you happen to be a leader, so the load of the responsibility comes on you, while somebody else committed the mistake. That's why it requires tolerance. Like I told you the example of that Dr. Kalam and his boss. No, what is his name? Rajesh Diman. Kalam. Dr. Kalam had a boss. Anybody knows his name? See, they were trying to send a rocket in those days. So first time, his boss had told Dr. Kalam that, don't finalize the program. There are many mistakes to be finalized, and we will not fly the rocket, and let's wait. But Dr. Kalam felt they are going on postponing. At one point of time, he finalized the program, and they arranged for the rocket launch. And when they launched the rocket, it failed, and there was a big loss, because one rocket fails, crores of rupees loss often. So immediately all the newspaper people came. They asked, how did it fail? What happened? Then his boss, Dr. Kalam's boss, told, I will handle it, you don't worry. So he sent him inside. So he came in the front and he handled all the newspaper people, saying that we are very sorry. Actually, we never thought this happened, that happened, he said. But they said there's a big money loss for the country. He said, no, we will make it up. In the next, after 10 years, we are launching another rocket. We are confident it will be successful. And all that he said. Then Dr. Kalam thought, my face is saved. Actually, he did the mistake, but his boss took the brunt of the blame. He took the blame. And 10 years later, the rocket was to be launched. This time, Dr. Kalam was extra cautious. Whatever his boss told, he followed it. When they launched the rocket, it was successful. Then again newspaper reporters came. Then his boss told Kalam, now you be in the front. Now you tell them. You tell them how you were successful. But Dr. Kalam said, we were successful because of you. So you did everything. We just followed you. You are the leader of the team. He said, no, now that we are successful, nobody is going to blame us. So you, all of you team members, you meet, he said. So this is a very noble leader. Very rare to find such leaders. It is said, when people are throwing rotten eggs on you, the leader should be in the front with his chest open for accepting the rotten eggs. And when people want to give you flower bouquets, not that you collect all of them and keep it with you. I am the leader, I have all the bouquets with me. Actually, when flower bouquets are given to us, we should immediately share it with everybody. You take one, you take one, you take one, you take one, like that. If somebody is glorifying your success, you should stick your neck out of the window to see who are the people who brought this success to me. That is actually an ideal leader. So, this example is a very nice example because when Kalam failed in the beginning, when the rocket launch failed, naturally the leader could have blamed Kalam to the people, isn't it? Actually, I am a smart leader, but this fellow committed the mistake, you see. I told him not to launch the program, but they hurriedly did it anyway. So he didn't push the blame. This is a very noble quality. To not push the blame on others, it's a very difficult to achieve quality. Whenever something goes wrong, you ask a person, why this went wrong, sir? Immediately they'll say, he did it. Isn't it? Immediately. Then you say, sir, how the success came? Then I did it, with a big smile. I did it. Raise the collar. You see? This is the tendency of conditioned souls. Anyway, all of us are conditioned souls only. We have to advance from that platform to when somebody is asking, how did the success come? Actually, we have to honestly say the success came because I am just the apex of the pyramid. Apex of the glacier. The whole glacier is below the water. So many people are involved in bringing the success. I am not the only one. And when failure comes, we should be willing to accept the blame as a leader. So, that requires a high tolerance to operate. Generally, when people don't follow what you say, and then when that leads to a failure, we feel very pained. Is it not true? Then we lose tolerance and trust also in the people who brought that failure. I told you, you didn't obey me, get out immediately. So, tolerance also leads to forgiveness. If one has tolerance. Because people can commit mistakes in this world. Which mistake is a mistake which is unforgivable? Which mistake is a mistake which is forgivable? We have to know. And when is the time when we can totally lose trust in a person? When is the time when we can continue to maintain some trust in a person? These questions are very important in tolerance also. Like, if you say I will tolerate anything, because somebody may lead to money loss, somebody may lead to life loss because of carelessness. Like, like one of the assistant devotees who used to travel with me, he went to Mayapur and he left the gas cylinder on, and he didn't close the regulator. So the senior devotees there became annoyed. So they sent a complaint to me that your man has, kept the cylinder on, and if the gas spreads, it can explode the whole building. It's very risky, So when this boy came, assistant boy came, I said, they have banned you from cooking here in this building. You cannot go. He said, what happened, Prabhuji? So he said, you have kept the cylinder on. So now they have banned you. So they have asked you to submit an apology letter. Of course, they never told they wanted an apology letter. I only told them. I said, you have to submit an apology letter to them that it will never happen again and seek forgiveness from them. And no, Prabhuji, I have already told them that I have switched it off now. He said, I said, no, you have to submit a letter. It's a serious thing. Because for them it's a serious thing, we also should take it seriously. We should give it to them. And then I said, after submitting a apology letter, you should still not cook here. You should go to the other building and cook. No, Prabhuji, they are permitting me. He said, no, they will permit. That is their courtesy. But we should not accept. We should tell them, because I committed this mistake, here is my apology letter and I will go to the other building and cook. But if they insist that, no, Prabhuji, it's all right, these mistakes do happen in this world, you can cook now, if they say, and then he may cook. You understand, no? We have to train our people how to behave with people in such occasions. Huh? So now I can tell this fellow, because you kept it on and because we got the blame now I don't want you to serve anymore. Get out. There is no forgiveness. You see? So we have to tolerate people committing mistakes. Like for example, I myself experience. I have scolded devotees who keep the tap on. You know, air is coming. Huh? So they keep it on and they put some bucket under it, and then after some time when the water actually comes, you know what happens? It overflows, and water keeps going. One time in Mayapur, the water was coming in the top, it got filled, it came out, and from the top it was gliding down the staircase, and it came down up to the bottom as if it was like waterfalls, from the fourth floor to down. And one lady saw, where is so much water coming from? As Pralaya come or what? She came out and yelling and shouting. Then the devotees got to realize that it was kept open. So naturally we get wild, and whoever did it, who did it? That's the first question comes. You want to crush that person into powder, and everybody is hiding behind the bureau. Nobody wants to show their face. Oh, I didn't do it, and everybody, isn't it? So everybody lets out the wrath, anger on whoever did it. But the principle should be condemned that devotee should not be careless. Sometimes we ourselves commit the mistake. We put a hot water bucket or something and slowly it's coming, trickling. And then you go and come, by the time you come back, somebody else has put it off. Then you are heart of hearts thankful. I don't know who put it off. I forgot last 2 hours I was away. You think like that. So people do commit mistakes. And we can tolerate. But if we learn that somebody is expert in committing mistakes, then you can continue to love him, but don't give him responsibility. You can continue to love him. Very good boy, no problem. But don't expect big things from them. But that's why he says that leader must be able to take criticism without reacting or feeling it as a burden. This is another thing. Sometimes our plans that we make will be criticized by others also. That the leader is making a plan or a plan of action, POA we call it, plan of action you make, and you hand it over, that will be criticized. Like now we have the boiling the milk plan. Not everybody will like this idea. They will say, what is this new thing? We have been all these years we have been preaching and expanding very powerfully how successful things were. Suddenly what is this? We are in the name of boiling milk, we are simply making boys lazy. People will talk about it. There will be criticism. And when criticism comes, if a leader is intolerant, then whoever criticizes will become a victim. He may antagonize them or something like that. But if somebody is criticizing, the criticizing people should be invited and their opinion should be asked. Okay, if this is not to be done, then what do you think should be done? Why this should not be done? Prabhupada wanted boiling milk after to generate some devotees. So whenever you make any plan, you will find there will be some people who don't like it. There will be some criticism will come. You may like one time we made a new policy that morning program our devotees will not wear dhoti kurta. They will wear pant shirt in order to attract more boys. But when we made that policy, we found, our own boys were becoming weak. Because they are wearing pant shirt tucked in, they were not feeling so much like devotees. They were feeling that we are in the college only, we are dancing. They were feeling like that. They were not feeling so much like devotees. They were getting weak. Then we changed the policy. Again, you wear dhoti kurta now. No problem. So sometimes we may launch new policies and we may get criticism. That should not be felt as a burden. See, if somebody is criticizing our ideas, what we should think? See, he wants to please Prabhupada. I want to please Prabhupada. So the quarrel is on how to please Prabhupada better. It is not quarrel between two people. The quarrel is for performing the service better. That is the beauty of devotees quarrel. When devotees quarrel, oftentimes the quarrel is on how to render that same service better. Like in Jagannath Puri, there is a story of how there was one king who liked to dress the Lord, with Shankh, Chakra, Gada, Padma and Mukut in the Vishnu form, Lord Jagannath. He would give the Shankh, Chakra and everything to him. In the morning he would dress and go. 10 o'clock one devotee will come, another simple devotee. And he would not like this dress. He would go to the altar and he would remove all the Shankha Chakra and everything and give the Lord a flute and the peacock feather. And the king would come at noon to see the darshan of Jagannath, and he would find, hey, where is the Shankha Chakra and all? So, like we sing that song, Nela Chale Shankha Chakra Gada Madhara. It is true, Lord is holding the Shankha Chakra, Gada Padma and everything in Nilachal. But sometimes he also has peacock feather and flute, because he is Krishna. Where is that? So king again didn't like it. Who changed it? He said, again he would put the Shankha Chakra and everything. And then he came to know this Brahmana comes and changes it. So he then went for a debate with him. And they both had a debate. And they couldn't arrive at a conclusion. So they went to Mudgala Rishi. You know that? And the Mudgala Rishi told them that, what you are saying is also right. Ye bhi theek hai, dono theek hai. Abhi kya kiya jaye? What is to be done? So he said, give me some time. So he took some time and he told the king as well as the Brahmana, you live in my house and I will feed you prasad every day. So one day, every day, when this Brahmana would, when the king would be about to take prasad, one old man would come and would take away the prasad and go away. In this way the king fasted for 2-3 days. And I was wondering, who is this fellow coming and taking away? Third day he caught hold of that man's hand and said, sir, tell me, why are you taking my prasadam away every day? I just want to know who you are. Immediately that man fell on the ground and died on the spot. The king got shocked. My lord, I have killed this old man. He started weeping and crying. Suddenly that old man's body changed into a beautiful form of Lord Vishnu as Yajna Purusha. Black color form, bluish black form sitting. He took, he took this Brahmana on one thighs and he kept king on the other side. And he said, I am pleased with both of you. You can dress me as Vishnu, you can dress me as Krishna. So some days you dress me like this, some days you dress me like that. He said and congratulated both of them, and the Lord disappeared after that. So sometimes you find that devotees' contradictions are based on their love for Krishna and their desire to serve Krishna in a better and better way. So we should always respect the desires of devotees. We should always respect the ideas of devotees. We should never, shoot down the ideas. If somebody gives them ideas, immediately say, that's a stupid idea. Very dangerous to say like that. How can we say it's a stupid idea? It could be probably the best idea. Sometimes we are attached to our own ideas. We are unwilling to hear others' ideas. That's why he's saying, sometimes if people are fanning our false ego, we think they are our friends. What about people, who brush aside and who block your way, and they are coming up with some idea totally, diametrically opposite to your idea? There may be people like that, and their idea may be better than ours also. And for that we have to put aside our false ego and be willing to listen. And here comes the love, because if we don't love somebody, we don't love their ideas also. We safely assume that this idea is not practicable if we don't love somebody. Because we hate somebody, we hate their ideas also. We don't want to listen. So this is one reason a leader has to be lovable also. If he is not lovable, many people will not accept his ideas. They will not want to buy. It's called as buying the idea. They may not buy his ideas if a leader is not lovable. And when can a leader be lovable? If he is accommodating. That is going to come next, subsequently. If he is adaptable and accommodating, then only he will be lovable. Then now subsequently, now we will talk about that. So when we are insulted, we should not get angry and not harbor any anger, hatred or malice. See, sometimes you are sitting in a circular meeting and you gave one idea and somebody was laughing at your idea. That deeply registers in our mind. Hey, when I told the idea, this fellow laughed. And we don't forget it for lifetime. Actually, we don't have to, take it so seriously, because everybody has different ideas and opinions. We don't have to harbor any hatred for other people. Or somebody suggested that the idea that we gave was not such a good idea or whatever. That is why we have to be very sensitive in meetings when people give ideas also. When we want to say that the idea is not such a good idea, it has to be told in a very polite fashion. Like you can say that idea is undoubtedly a very wonderful one. Probably it appears it may be a little costly idea, isn't it? Like I told you last time. Let us bring all our boys to Mayapur by flight. Yeah. So people naturally laugh, is it not? Isn't it? Instead of laughing, what we can say? Prabhu, your idea is very brilliant. We will keep it in the car park. We will discuss about it later. Only thing is, it appears to be a bit costly, and it is true also, no? Is it not a costly idea? Isn't it? Yeah, when our easy membership goes beyond 25 crores or something, and we can think about it, we will think of that idea. So, don't harbor any hatred or malice. Titiksha means not answering back. This is another thing. Like if somebody is giving an idea, they are speaking it, and the other fellow is preparing the answer now. He is preparing his guns ready, putting bullets now. You are finished now? Tell me now. You see? So most people in this world, when you speak something, what are they doing? They are preparing the answer now. And that is seen in their eyes, in their nose movement, eyes movement, lips movement, their facial expression. Actually, they are not listening to you very attentively. They are mostly preparing to attack back. So that is a very bad quality. So titiksha means willingness to coolly hear it and not answering back immediately. Yeah. And also not regretting for not having taken action, he says. That means sometimes you maintain cool head, later on you lament, why was I so cool headed, I should have given a punch back. That kind of, after that also should not come. Diksha is saying. Actually, all of us will be insulted in some occasion or the other in the material world. Shitoshna sukha dukkeshu zata mana apamanayo. Krishna says, man apaman will come. Some people, they will love you very much, you love them very much. Some people are tender towards you. Some people are neutral towards you. Some people, you are fearful of them because they keep giving you feedback more and more, although you don't want. They may give you feedback. Some people are like that. And with some people you have that friction. Yeah, you can see that. So, titiksha, tolerance actually means through love a leader empowers people and in return they are available to him when he needs them. All are in the same boat, he says. What is the meaning of being in the same boat? Which means in success and failure, they are together. As a team. That is very important. Like I remember one time in Rana Swami Maharaj's room, the 4 presidents came and I happened to be there. And I think they were trying to do some food for life in that CST or somewhere. So they were planning to distribute food packets in the offices and take some money. So one of the Shaman Prabhu had that idea or something, and then other 3 people were discussing about it, and they were telling it may not be economically viable and going and transporting and cooking in the temple facilities. Meeting went on for 2-3 hours, and then when they brought it to Maharaj, and the devotees wanted to give up that idea of doing this kind of food for life. And then when Maharaj spoke, it appeared that Maharaj also liked that idea, that yes, we can distribute the prasadam in the offices and inspire some people to buy Prabhupada books and make them devotees and everything. So then they all gradually turned to the other side. They said, okay Maharaj, now we will go ahead with that. And then after 4 months, it seems they tried and the idea didn't work out. There was a lot of losses, They cooked a lot and they couldn't sell it properly. Sometimes the van reached late and everything. So then they dropped the idea. So again when they came to Maharaj's room, I happened to be there. And then they were all telling, Maharaj, we told Shamanpu that time only, this will not work and this and that. But Maharaj said, whose idea was it? He asked. Everybody pointed a hand to Shamanpu, they said. And Maharaj said, no, it was the idea of the team. He said, you all came as a team. No, Maharaj, originally he only started. That is another thing. But once you agree, the blame should be taken by The whole team, all are in the same boat, he said. And then he asked a very brilliant question. If this idea succeeded, then who would have taken the credit? Naturally we all would have taken the credit. We all came up with this idea, we will say. So if you want the credit as a team, you should also accept blame as a team also. That's the point of all are in the same boat. Everybody.
Sometimes it may happen that some superior above me, he misunderstands you because of some situation. I know that the report will go high. So should I clarify the situation?
Immediately you should clarify. These things should be nipped in the bud. Fire, dead, disease should be nipped in the bud, Chanakya says. Because you may say it's only a small spark of fire, but then it will grow into a blazing fire. So misunderstanding should be nipped in the bud immediately. With any devotee, some misunderstanding happened, immediately you should clarify it, so that they don't harbor anything in their minds. So many misunderstandings can come. Yeah, you should do it. Like for example, you took a meeting and some devotee was giving an idea, and you politely refused it, but he continued giving. He continued giving the idea. Then again, you had to little bit strongly tell him that idea will not work, Prabhu. We don't want to do it. Then after the meeting is over, sometimes you meet him personally and tell him, Prabhuji, as such, I like your devotion service very much, but this idea is a very costly idea. It may not work, and we have less resources and everything. Like sometimes devotees feel, why you didn't allot money for this? You allotted money for that. People have such questions. And after the meeting, it has to be very smoothly settled, so that people don't keep something in their mind. Maybe he doesn't like me, so he didn't allot money for this. They think like that. It has to be clarified. I like you very much. I like your devotion service very much. Only the demand that you made was beyond us. And whenever money comes, we will surely keep your request in mind, and money will be allotted for you. You understand, no? Misunderstanding should be clarified as quickly as possible. So, through love, a leader empowers people, and in return, they are available to him, he says. So, through love, a leader empowers people means, actually, a leader should be able to see potential in everybody. Some potential to do something wonderful, and he has to identify that potential. And like I was telling recently, one devotee, I told him, in those days you made so many Hindi-speaking devotees into wonderful brahmacharis in the temple. Now after you took off from that, you went for this other direction, and there, last 4 or 5 years, you have not been doing anything. You have been preaching to some congregation, but you are not very satisfied. I told him, now you come back to the old field, which is your actual strength. Because in this direction, you were able to do wonderful things. When I told it, he was so happy. He said, yes, Prabhuji, immediately this week I will start it. I will again do this. He was doing preaching to hotel boys. He got Vishwanath Kripa Prabhu, Rasam Sindhu Prabhu, Kurunandan Prabhu, such powerful devotees. When I told this devotee, he was so jubilant. He was just shaving me. I just gave this clue to him. Immediately he said, yes, Prabhuji, I will again start it again. See, when you remind people of their strength, they feel very grateful and thankful. Rather than telling them their problems. What, Prabhuji, you are good for nothing. You were doing nice preaching for 5 years ago. Now I think you have become Dela Dala now. You are not doing anything. So rather than focus on the weakness, highlight the strength and empower people through love, he says. And in return, they are available to us. Like, you will find when you are running a center, many people will have many shortcomings. Many people will have many shortcomings, you will find. And I think no point talking about shortcomings. Shortcomings everybody has. Everybody. You have to only find out, okay, this shortcoming is there in this fellow, but what else can you do? So better you empower people, rather than, if you keep pinpointing the shortcoming in them, and we don't tell them any of their brighter side, what they can do. What is the use of telling them what they cannot do? Tell them what they can do. Then they will do it. See here the example of the Mother Earth is given. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Earth is a symbol of tolerance. Deep oil drilling, atomic explosion, pollution, all that. Sometimes the forests are cut down. Sometimes the wars go on the surface. Yet the earth tolerates everything. Actually, the Shastras give examples of earth, examples of trees, how the tree is very tolerant also. The woodcutter bird makes a hole in the tree and lives in the same shade of the tree, and the tree gives shelter. Similarly, leader has to be very tolerant. That sometimes one of the subordinates may, even though the subordinate may not like you, even though subordinate may even develop hatred for you, still we have to like them because they are also a part of Prabhupada's mission. That is why even if a person insults you, you still should be willing to serve such a person. Like Prahlad Maharaj, how he dealt with his father. His father dealt with him angrily, his father dealt with him as almost he was about to kill him. But he never harbored any malice towards his father. Very amazing. So we are working for Prabhupada's mission. And ultimately, if somebody is joining Prabhupada's mission, even though they may insult us or they may not like us, they are a part of the team, they are there, we have to engage them in Prabhupada's mission, because ultimately they are making Prabhupada's mission successful. We should not bring our personal ego. Generally, our nature of our mind is what? People who are yes men, I will surround myself with them. And people who rebel against me or protest against me or who don't like me, who insult me, I will corner them. I will shoot them down. So that in this way, I will always be surrounded by yes men, and they will always pamper me, pamper my mind and senses. This is what tendency? It's a tendency of a conditioned soul. You see? But a leader is one. So it's likely that one of your subordinates has a tremendous ability to do something wonderful, but they may not like us. They may hate us, they may not like us, they may insult us. But if you can tolerate the hatred and insult and engage them in Prabhupada's mission, ultimately mission will be successful. Is it not true? Like Srila Prabhupada, in his times also, Prabhupada found that sometimes two people would quarrel. They would quarrel. And Prabhupada tried to engage them. Like, there was one Siddha Swarupananda in Prabhupada's times. He was growing long hair and wearing pant shirt and going with his people to distribute books, and news came. And when Prabhupada was in Mayapur, and devotees came to Prabhupada, that Siddha Swarupananda has come. We wanted to meet him and correct him. Yeah, Prabhupada said, yes, I saw him. In Mangalarti, Prabhupada saw him. He was in dhoti kurta. At least in front of me, he is wearing dhoti kurta. Prabhupada said, at least that much fear he has. He doesn't wear pant shirt in front of me. So I hope eventually he'll improve. He said, Prabhupada tolerated a lot of people. All kinds of people he tolerated. Yeah. Extremely tolerant. And when right instructions had to be given, Prabhupada gave instructions to people at the right time. But even if somebody, of course, if somebody is openly insulting, openly having poison and hatred and malice, which means it's like a person with tuberculosis wanting to live with you in the same room with many others, then he will pass TB to everybody. Then you may have to tell him to stay aloof. But what I am saying is, if somebody has some problem, and along with that problem they can do something for the mission of Prabhupada, we should engage them. That requires tolerance like earth, or tolerance like a tree. Actually, we should not take personal insults. A leader cannot afford to take personal insults. I'll tell you one example. In those days, there was one devotee in this temple. He had told some visiting people that Radhesham's books are all deviant books. He has written his own things, and then he has told the people that look at this temple. It is like a jopadi, just it's a colonel's bungalow, converted into a temple. And he said, we have another temple in some other place, which is a beautiful temple, a huge temple, crores of rupees worth temple, and see this temple. And so he was criticizing the temple, he was criticizing my books, and he was telling that this fellow, Raja makes his own people, they don't follow Prabhupada, something like that he had told. But these 3-4 people, they came and told me the whole thing, Then after they told me the whole thing, then I called this devotee to my room privately. Then I asked him, Prabhu, you have told these things to people like this. Why you told them? And if you want, you can show me what deviation is there in the books, And then he became very, this thing he said, how do you know I told them this, that, and all he was. Then I told, no, they came and told me, all 3-4 of them, they met me. You thought that they don't know me, but as a president they have come and reported to me. I said. Then he started talking many political things. He said, you only make your own god brothers into managers and you don't make other gurus disciples into managers. Then immediately I told him, I'll make you the manager now. Today, the very same day. When I told the other devotees, they said, no, he will not be able to be a good manager. But still we made him manager. After 1 week of managership, he got down. He said, he picked up quarrel with everybody practically. And he got down. I gave him experience of being a manager. He has to get it now. He has to understand what it means to be a manager. I gave him. Now after that he left the temple and went off. That's another thing. But why I am saying, when he was about to leave, he came to my office. And our other TMCs were there, who were all very upset with him and all. So he asked me, you had given me a bag in the temple for brahmachari. Can I keep the bag? I said, keep it. It's some 600, 800 rupees. So can I take complete set of EBG books? He asked. Okay, take it. So the Bhagavatam set which was given to me, I want to carry it. He said, okay, keep it, no problem. So they were telling me, probably you're giving him worth almost 3,000, 4,000 rupees. I said, we should never, send off a person with malice in his heart, with hatred in his heart. At least this last gesture, what we are doing will, give him some love for this temple and the devotees. He will go with a happy heart. So when he goes back, naturally he will be peaceful. Outside, whenever he thinks of Pune, he will think of these good things. And it happened also. When he went to another place, he called me and said, I am serving here. Thank you, I have all these things with me now and everything. So he had changed his attitude. Actually, if you are a leader, we have to try to change the attitude of people. Wrong attitude people have, we should try to behave in such a way. So sometimes we have to do some disciplinary action on some of the boys. Like some boy is not following the morning program. How do you discipline him? By sending him out. In those days, in 97, 98, there was one boy living here. There was one Abhilash, one boy was living here. In those days, there was like a GBT kind of thing. I mean, this BTG kind of thing. He was living. So he was working in Canbay, in Nigdi and coming. So night he will come at about 11. And morning he won't get up before 7, So I told him that, Prabhu, if you really want to live in this campus, you have to get up for Mangalarati. So night it gets to 11 o'clock, Prabhuji. Then I told him, why don't you stay outside? Oh, if I go outside and I fall down, to Maya. I said, if you are staying inside, you are not associating with devotees, then this is also fall down. But he wouldn't agree. But politely I pushed him. After 2-3 months he agreed to go out, But we have to do it very carefully. Especially disciplining has to be done very carefully. If you discipline people harshly, that harsh impression will remain with them for a very long time. Lifelong they will remember it. Like there was another devotee who was keeping big steel trunks, filled with books and things and everything. So some of our devotees, actually I was out of station, they called me and said, Prabhuji, we are asking him to vacate because we want this room for some purpose. And I told them that please tell him to quit as soon as possible. So what these people did, they evicted him practically. They asked him to, they said, we will put it on a cart and give you, and they moved him to another place. Till date he remembers it. I was practically thrown out. He says, and immediately you look at his face, how he changes. I know all these people, I don't want to quote any names, but I'm just telling you. So the leaders have to be very tolerant, especially dealing with this kind of disciplinary cases. People with hatred, people with insult, people criticizing us. Even if they criticize us, we have to know that, a Vaishnava should never take personal insult. That is one characteristic of a Vaishnava. But we have to see how he can be engaged in Prabhupada's mission. See, Bhishma Deva is giving 9 instructions. Next one. Not to become angry, not to lie, to equally distribute, to forgive, and begetting children from legitimate wife, to be pure in mind, and hygiene in body, not to be inimical towards anyone. The 7th one is very important, not to be inimical towards anyone. Unnecessarily we should not create quarrel with anybody. We should try to dissolve the misunderstandings and quarrels with anybody. One interesting thing I'll tell you, in your life if you observe carefully, there are only some 7 or 8 people with whom you interact every day. You will see. It's only a single digit number always. You interact every day. Not too many people. All of you think for a moment. How many people with whom you interact every day? It's not. It's not that you're talking to 100 people every day. It's not like that. And another interesting thing, that our interaction with others is only for a brief period of time. It is not for a very long time, because most of us, if you see, we are doing our own thing. Like for example, we are dancing in Mangalarti, then we sit and chant. 2 hours we are chanting the holy name. Then after that you take your prasad and you have your seva. So the interacting time with people is minimal actually. So knowing these two facts, if you interact with people as carefully as possible, then there is a likelihood of not having any quarrel with anybody. You know. But if we, while interacting, we make that interaction unpleasant, that leaves an impression which people meditate upon it for a long time when they are away from you. You understand, no? For example, if they, in their interaction, they had a very unpleasant encounter with you, that unpleasant encounter is registered in their mind and repeatedly meditated upon, which actually increases their hatred for us. You understand? So, once Radhanath Maharaj was telling, when you go home, the last point of your home visit, when you are leaving and coming, you are staying for a couple of days or 2 or 3 days. While going, you leave some very pleasant impression in their minds. You give them some sticker or something. You speak some nice sweet words with a smile. You pat them and then come. They remember it for a long time. They will say that, oh, our boy is so good. Ever since he became a devotee, he is very kind and very loving. They will say like that, because the impression will leave in others' minds. So that's why he's saying, don't be inimical to anyone. But unfortunately, this is very difficult to follow. We do develop inimical tendencies with different people. He's saying to be simple, to support servants or subordinates. What is the meaning of support? Support also means tolerate. Not only giving them food, clothing, shelter, but also tolerate the small mistakes that may happen. So now we are going to go fast, this last part. Tolerate and push forward. Somebody can read it quickly, take a mic and read it. This is a very simple thing, it's not very tough thing.
Tolerate and push forward. Our devotee manager was sleeping at night in his cabin when suddenly Lord appeared in his dream. The Lord told the manager that he has offered this post to him to work for the pleasure of the Lord only, and he should do it happily with tolerance. He gave him the task of pushing a large rock in front of his cabin. That was too difficult a service for the manager. The Lord explained that the man was to push against the rock with all his might. So this man did, the day after day. While the whole world closed with everyone trying to fulfill their own selfish desires, the devotee manager agreed to abide by God's order, take up the responsibility of the hard task given to him, and execute his instructions. For many months he toiled from sun up to sun down. His shoulders sat squarely against the cold, massive surface of the unmoving rock, pushing with all of his might. Each night the man returned to his cabin sore and worn out, feeling that his whole day had been spent in vain. Since the man was showing discouragement, the Maya Devi decided to enter the picture by placing thoughts into the weary mind. You have been pushing against the rock for a long time, and it has not moved. Thus she gave the manager the impression that the task was impossible and that he was a failure. These thoughts discouraged and disheartened the manager. Maya said, "Why kill yourself over this? Just put in your time, giving just the minimum effort, and that will be good enough. You have not come to Krishna consciousness to struggle like this. Just see what I offer for the people of the world." That's what the weary manager planned to do, but decided to make it a matter of prayer and to take his troubled thoughts to the Lord. "Lord," he said, "I have labored long and hard in your service.
See how many hands he has.
Putting all my strength to do that which you have asked. Yet, after all this time, I have not even budged that rock by half a millimeter. What is wrong? Why am I failing?" The Lord responded compassionately, "My friend, when I asked you to serve me and you accepted, I told you that your task was to push against the rock with all of your strength, which you have done. Never once did I mention to you that I expected you to move it. Your task was to push. And now you come to me with your strength spent, thinking that you have failed. But is that really so? Look at yourself. Your arms are strong and muscle. Your back is sinewy and brown. Your hands are calloused from the constant pressure. Your legs have become massive and hard. Through opposition, you have grown much stronger in Krishna consciousness, and your abilities now surpass that which you used to have. True, you haven't moved the rock, but your calling was to be obedient and to push and to exercise your faith and trust in my wisdom. That you have done. Now I, my friend, will move the rock.
Now who will move the rock? God moves the rock.
At times, when we hear a word from Lord, we tend to use our own intellect to decipher what He wants, when usually what God wants is just a simple obedience and faith in Him. By all means, exercise the faith that moves mountains, but know that it is still God who moves mountains. When everything
See, this is a very important point. By all means, exercise the faith that moves mountains. That faith moves mountains, but we have to know it is still God who moves mountains, he says. Actually, you heard the story now of a man, a villager who was traveling in the train. So he was carrying 3 boxes, each 30 kilos, isn't it? So when he boarded the train, some people told him that actually, only 30 kilos are allowed. You are not allowed to carry more than that. When the TT came, immediately this man took the 230 kgs and kept with him. And the TT asked, where is your luggage? He showed only the one, the 30 wala one. He said, that is carried by the train and these two I am carrying. He said. So the TT laughed and said, although you are carrying this 60 kgs, along with 60 kgs, along with your weight, who is carrying that? Train only. Similarly, ultimately God only carries our weight. Whether we do or we leave it to Him, ultimately He only does. That's what He is saying. Ultimately, it is God who moves the mountains. Yeah.
When everything seems to go wrong, just push. When the job gets you down, just push. When people don't react the way you think they should, just push.
See the rat race. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah.
When your money is gone and the bills are due, just push. When people just don't understand you, just push for the pleasure of God. P for pray, U until,
Is that what is the meaning of push? You understood? So what is the push that you have to do?
pray until something happens.
Yeah. So in that previous sentence he said, with faith in God, one should learn to pray. Faith and obedience, he said. So faith is an internal thing and obedience is a external practical implementation of the God's instructions, that is obedience. So internally, externally we have to do it. So pray and obey with faith. So when you do that, pray until something happens. This is the... go ahead. If you do your best.
If you do your best and leave the rest to God, God will surely help you. To hear the unheard is a necessary discipline to be a good ruler. For only when a ruler has learned to listen closely to the people's hearts, hearing their feelings uncommunicated.
This is the most important sentence. Hearing the people's feelings uncommunicated, pains unexpressed, and complaints not spoken of, can he hope to inspire confidence in his people. Understand when something is wrong and meet the true needs of his citizens. The demise of states comes from when leaders listen only to superficial words and not penetrate deeply into the souls of the people to hear their true opinions, feelings and desires. It's a very deep sentence. He says that all people don't, express their pains or communicate their feelings or they don't speak out the complaints. These three things are said. Why they don't do that? For various reasons which you all said in the last class. It will not be heard, or they will not take any further action, or this is how life is, you have to just accept it. Or if you come up with some complaints or you express openly your feelings, then you will be considered a rebel and things like that. So a good ruler means over a period of time, and in the course of one's taking responsibility, one has to make some forums by which people will be able to open out their hearts and bring up ideas to make the community better and better and better. Like now, I'll tell you one example. In those days, they had this drama team of teenage boys, isn't it? So now they send many letters to me about what they liked and what they didn't like in the drama they did on a particular festival day. But the signature is they sign your servant, cultural committee. So you will not know who said which point. It's only the cultural committee, which is about 7-8 people, and they are there. So now they feel very free to express their opinions. Because I am not going to ask whose opinion was this. They are not going to ask. They put all the opinions together and they just try and sign it as cultural committee. So they put it like that, and they are very happy. They are sending ideas, and then I tell them further, because of this reason, I told Revati Prabhu to clarify to them. Now they are very happy now. They were always asking after the Abhishek and before the lecture they want to do drama because everybody wants prime time. Because that is the time most people will be there and they will watch it. And I told Revati Prabhu to write reasons why we cannot accommodate drama there. So when he wrote the reasons, then they understood. You understand? No? So sometimes there are unclarified misunderstandings, and we have to create a system by which people can bring out their feedback without fear. They can give, and when they give the feedback, it should be clarified. Yeah, this is one, and we can go to the next one, 2. Yeah, the 2 they don't have? Where is Antadip Prabhu? 2, there is 2 also? Yes. Part 2. Yeah. You got part 2? Here it is, if you want you can connect it to this. You can connect it to this. You connect to this. It's already started here. Yeah. Connect to this. So now we are going to the 4th quality. What was the first one? I have put it here. Adaptability. Yeah. Yeah. Quick. Have you seen sometimes even if your brother is having mustache, he is not even chanting one round, he has never come to ISKCON temple, still you continue to tolerate him. Why you tolerate him? Because you love him, you see. On the other hand, some dude is chanting 16 rounds, wearing tilak, kantimala, he joined the ashram, dedicated his life, still you have problem with him. Why? Because we don't love. As simple as that, you see. That is why he says, if we can tolerate people when we love people. Yeah.
Tolerance doesn't necessarily mean not to pinpoint the mistake, or does it mean to not keep vengeance in the heart?
Second one. Tolerate means not to maintain any vengeance in the heart, but the pinpointing the problems or mistakes should be done in such a way that it will bring about a change in the person. Otherwise, what is the use of pinpointing the faults? So, like Maharaj was once telling me, there are 2 types of cases he was telling. Like somebody is unwilling to listen to you when you are giving an instruction, they are running away from you, and you chase after them and give good instructions. Will they hear? They won't. On the other hand, if somebody is taking a notebook and pen, please tell me, what do you want me to do? I will do it, and then he notes down, and he knows very well that you love him and you want him to improve, and then after you go away, he works on it, and then he returns back to you saying that I have rectified the mistake. The connection is felt. That kind of instruction is the valuable one, isn't it? Yeah. Yes. What was your?
On the point of working as a team, so sometimes it happens that suppose a subordinate has committed a mistake and because of which there's a failure, so you may not give a negative feedback to him and take the responsibility of whole thing on yourself. But always there is this thing that to my superiors I shouldn't look like a fool, or you become little image conscious. So at least there should be some somebody who knows that I am not at fault while this has happened due to someone else's mistake. So we clarify with superiors, maybe mostly because of being image conscious, or they shouldn't see me as a fool. So how much that is correct?
Yeah, we can surely do that. What I was telling was, this is not such a thing. When Dr. Kalam's case I was telling you, generally people catch the team leader when anything goes wrong, and when the success comes also, the team leader gets a big credit for, like the new temple is coming up now. So many people give me so much credit, although I am more into preaching. I only go for the meetings when they call me, probably twice a month or something, and I go. I'm involved in interior, the dioramas and everything, ideas for that. As far as fundraising is concerned, probably, whenever I am called to go for very big shots, 2-3 times, 4 times in a month or so I go. So 4.5, almost 2 days or 3 days I have to give in a month. That's all. Rest of the time I am into preaching and other things. But when the new temple comes, people say Radhesham is president. He has made a beautiful temple in Pune. They will say. But when something goes wrong, then blame also will come to me. You understand now? So both credit and blame comes to anyone who takes leadership. Surely, when we are clarifying with your immediate superiors, you can give the total picture of who gave what ideas and how things came up, and where things went wrong. Because actually somebody may give you a wrong idea, but if you sanctioned it, then the onus is on you. Is it not true? As a leader. Now, the question will be asked to us, why did you sanction it? In the case of Dr. Kalam, he was not sanctioned. Without sanctioning, he whimsically did it. Like one devotee took a car and he damaged it, and 6,000 rupees was to be paid. So his leader told him not to drive the car, but he broke it. Now who is at fault? Subordinate is at fault. So naturally he has to complain to the superiors. That subordinate did not obey me, he did it like this, and he requires some disciplinary treatment. If he is not dealt with now, then you take the blame and nobody will come to know what happened, and that fellow will continue with his whimsical nature. That's surely right. But we were telling from only one point of view, the nobility of a leader. We are glorifying it. So that is the highlight there. And as far as rectifying the mistake is concerned, it has to be done. This is adaptability, very important quality. See, what is adaptability? Ability to adjust to many different personalities and situations in the process of reaching our goal. Ability to adjust to many different people and situations. Correct? When we are put into different type of situations, we may have to adjust. I'll tell you some examples for that. He needs maturity to give way to others, to bend, to tolerate. The more flexible the leader, the better will be his capability to accept pressure. The employees believe that they have information or knowledge, and they have understanding, and in most cases they have answers also. But they want the management to listen. When a company, so now this is leading to this next point. Here, what is this adaptability? This will be more detailed discussion we will do in another topic called as changing details without changing principles. There we will talk more there, but now I'll tell you one or two brief examples. Adaptability means we cannot have, that is explained here later. Yeah, sometimes people talk about change in the government, its policies, in society, like young generations, traditions, customs, cultures adopted, or change in total environment. Thus, everyone wants everything else to change except one's own self. He does not wish to become role model for others and take up initiative to lead others through the change process. And when one does not want to change himself, no change can ever take place. A leader with a high talent of adaptability is ready to implement a change similar to a trapeze artist. So now, what is this change? I'll tell you an example. You see, in our BRR, Bhaktivedanta reading room, we had 1,000 audio tapes at one time. So then they were telling that CDs are coming up now. Now the audio tapes are going to become obsolete. So we have to change it. Immediately we sold it off after that. Then CDs came. Somebody said CDs are also becoming obsolete now. Why? Because we have flash players now. So as the things change, we have to learn to adapt ourselves also, isn't it? Otherwise, imagine, for example, all people are having flash players, and then we are still giving audio tapes out. Will anybody take from us? Then we have to adapt ourselves also accordingly. Like, the Chanda Mama, Ambuli Mama, all these magazines used to come. At one time they were coming. Now, at that time, the media was hitting India. Television was coming to India. And television is a big threat for all these magazines. Because people throw away the magazines and they want to switch on the TV, 120 channels, just keep changing the channels and watching different things, isn't it? So, then now the magazines are coming up with varieties of ideas to make it more interesting in order to catch the attention of people like that. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada, when he went to America, adapting himself to the situation there, he made this book, Easy Journey to Other Planets. At that time, they were talking about, landing on moon. There's a lot of talk going on. So this book became a hit book there. It was like when I came to Pune, one of the first pocket books I made was Art of Mind Control. That we must have sold more than 1 lakh books now. Why it went so well? Because all the youths are finding their minds uncontrolled. When they say Art of Mind Control, immediately they want to buy. You see? So you have to create a need for the people in society to accept Krishna consciousness. If we don't create a need in their lives, then they will not want to accept it. And for that we may have to adapt ourselves. What we have to adapt? Adapt our style of preaching, adapt our ways, our cultures, many things, in order for us to be acceptable to them, isn't it? So, like when Srila Prabhupada went to the West, many Indians came and asked, Swamiji, where is a Gopuram? You have made a temple, but we don't find a Gopuram. Prabhupada said, what is the meaning of a temple? Simply by having Gopuram, does it become a temple? Temple means there should be darshan of the Lord, there should be satsanga of the devotees, there should be Harinam Sankirtan. All of it is going on here. Then why are you Indian guys so much ritualistically attached to only Gopuram? Although Gopuram is not there, you guys don't do anything here in America, you come to earn money. And you are criticizing me for making these centers. So some Indian Brahmanas were finding fault with Prabhupada for converting flats into temples. And we are following the same thing in our voice centers. Take a flat and convert it into a temple near the college. Now, we can say that number 4, Tarapur Road, Pune camp, we have the temple and all college students are welcome here. In the weekend you can chant, dance and go. And if we do that, can we make many devotees? Instead, what we do? We go to the colleges. We put a tent at their doorstep, making a center there. We are here for you. Like the computer, they make these user-friendly packages, they call it. So we also become user-friendly to people. Isn't it? Like user-friendly means what? Everything is in your fingertips. You just press one button and then immediately things happen very easily. You don't have to, it's not any complex thing. Easily, they call it like, an idiot's book. An idiot's book to photography. They call like that. You know this? Why they call it idiot's book? Then lot of people will buy that book. Generally. Because if you say, yes, smart man's book, if you say, then many people fear that, will I understand? It will be full of jargon. So that's why they use the word idiot's book, they call it. An idiot's book to English grammar. Then many people think, I think it's a good book for me. I can easily understand. So, similarly, adaptability means what? According to time, place, circumstance and need of the day. Now, for example, if Radhesham Das comes to Pune and says, I will come to your engineering college and give a discourse on Bhagavad Gita, please put on the notice board, Radhesham Das Brahmachari with a shaven head with tilak and saffron dress is going to give a discourse on Bhagavad Gita, and he will cover some 1 or 2 chapters. So how many boys and girls you think will come for such a program, isn't it? On the other hand, you say stress management, time management, self-management. And actually when I put Radhesham Das MTech, of course Maharaj told me that you can use your degree to preach. Many people think this fellow is IIT MTech, he must be wearing coat, suit, tie, and coming, and when they come and see, it's a culture shock for them. The first time when they see, it's a big culture shock for them. Anyway, after the lecture, when I ask any questions, one typical question always, sir, after doing IIT MTech, why did you give up? And why did you take this, you had any failure or something in life? Some girl ditched you or what? Or some people ask, did you complete the IIT? I tell them, hey, I completed, I have the degree and I worked in Thermax for 2 years. Then it's all right now. So, yeah, people, so it creates curiosity. Like, when I first gave my youth program in Nigadi, 40 girls and boys came. About 20 girls, 20 boys came for the program. Yeah. And how they came? Just by seeing the degree they came. And you give some attractive heading like that, people come. So, we have to adapt ourselves. Just like the devotees in America, what they did, they gave a heading, stay high for ever. They gave. Yeah. And then they wrote in that, a slogan, see, when you take drugs and all, it takes you high, but then after it loses its effect, you come down. But we have a magic mantra, which if you chant, you can go high and you'll never come down. Jat Gatvana Nivartante. Stay high forever, that's a meaning. And this became a hit thing, and Swami sitting like this with picture, that became a hit thing. So, devotees knew how to adapt the preaching to the time, according to the time, place and circumstance needs. You see? Yeah. Like later on in our preaching also we included some things like, if you come for our weekly program, we will also give you free tuition by senior devotees. Boys thought, hey, wonderful. Smart boys who are toppers in the college, they are giving us free coaching. So sometimes the boys would come at the end of the class, take prasadam and then attend their tuition. So then we changed tuition time in the beginning. We told them that 6 to 7 will be your mathematics to M2 or something. And then 7 to 8 will be class and 8 o'clock prasadam. So they like prasadam very much, but the prasadam is only after the class. So they will attend the mathematics, then they attend the class and then take prasad. This is also adaptability. You see? These are all adaptability. Why you are adapting? According to if you have to preach, you should know how to adapt things smartly. Like one boy in those days, in one of the NITs, so he called me on phones and said, Prabhuji, I went to distribute books in the hostel, but I couldn't distribute one book also. He said, what happened? I went to the warden with a letter and said, please kindly sign this letter, sir, give me permission so I can go to the hostel and distribute books. And he rejected me. He said, so because you didn't give permission, now we are unable to distribute. I said, you did a big blunder, I told him. I was very upset. I said, why did you go to the warden? He said, but Prabhuji, the hostel boy said there is a warden, and unless you get his permission, you cannot distribute. I said, see, this is what everybody says. But actually, you can go and start distributing the books. Go room to room. First of all, are you convinced you are doing good to people, or you are doubtful? You are giving the spiritual books, wonderful books for them. And you go room to room. If somebody asks, have you taken permission of the warden? You can say, I'm going to take. You can always say like that and go room to room. And in case warden himself catches you anytime, you can say that, sir, we are helping the boys to develop their personality and character build up. These are very wonderful books. You can have a copy also if you wish. You can have a copy, And the warden may say, but how long are you going to do this? He may say, just only today, sir, today and tomorrow. Okay, chala, he may leave you also. And most of the wardens are Hindus and they have no problem in you distributing the books. But if you catch their neck by asking for a letter, by signing a letter, you will put them in trouble. Because if they sign a letter, then naturally, if somebody catches you and asks you, hey, who gave you permission? You say, warden gave permission. The warden will be out of the job. Because sometimes the rules and regulations of a country are, not very favorable for propagating dharma. And actually we are not doing any harm to the boys. We are giving them the ultimate wisdom, which is Raja Vidya, which is beyond all the 8 elements. College is giving them knowledge of only 8 material elements, and we are giving them knowledge of soul and God and relationship. So you go and peacefully distribute the books, everything will go well. You won't have any problem. It requires some smartness. So this is also adaptability. According to time, place, circumstance, what is needed. That has to be done. And one should not follow a stereotyped procedure of, just like we go to the authorities and take permission, and then your whole preaching will be filed. You can't do any preaching at all. And eventually what will happen, some boys become devotees, and then later on you call the warden also for some Diwali festival or Ramnami festival or something. He comes and he becomes favorable. Then he may also become a devotee. And that way something good happens for everybody. Is it not true? So, adaptability is willingness to change according to the changing age. So one religious leader, he said that if you completely adapt everything according to the modern times, then you may lose your identity of your religion. Or if you don't adapt at all, you are too orthodox, then you will have no followers. So we have to take an in-between approach. Yes, we can change the details, but we can't change the principles. Regarding which we will see later, another time. But here the adaptability that is being spoken is very specific. What is it? What is specific about it? Sometimes, like here, I'll read a section and then explain. Yeah, you can show the below one also. Both you can show. A leader should be flexible, like adjust to different personalities and situations he may face in reaching the goal, like a river. Like if there is a log of wood lying, the river goes up or river goes down, isn't it? Like she says, Gangai Vaugam Mudanvati, what that was? Tvayi me ananya vishaya materum madhupate sakrit ratim buddhahatat adha Gange Vaugam Mudanvati. Ganga flows in different directions. At last the goal is to reach the ocean. Similarly, Prabhupada told the devotees in America, in America devotees told Prabhupada, if you go with saffron, dhoti, kurta and shaven head, then nobody buys books from us, Prabhupada. As soon as they look at us, they think we are weird people, disoriented people, crazy people. Nobody comes to us. So can we wear pant shirt? Prabhupada said, no problem. You can wear pant shirt. So they wore pant and shirt and put a cap or something, and they would carry a suitcase and they look like a perfect gentleman. And somebody would come, good morning. They would say, good morning. They would shake the hands. So you are going from LA to San Francisco? He would say, yes. Would you like to see this book? So sometimes they would ask them to, ask them 2-3 questions, which will all be yes, yes, yes. They will say, it's a very good day today, isn't it? Yes. They will say, it's a very pleasant climate today, isn't it? Yes. And then it seems you have come to the airport to board the plane, isn't it? They say, yes. Would you like to see this book? And also, yes, they will say. Okay, let me see, what is it? They will ask. Yeah. And then they would show the book, and they were selling books like anything in the airport very easily. Yeah, people sold it. And Prabhupada appreciated it. But then when Prabhupada saw some of the people, some of the devotees, of course they had shaven head, shika also, but they would put a cap, and dhoti kurta will be inside. When they would remove their coat, suit, tie and everything, then there would be dhoti kurta inside. But then later on, devotees started growing long hair. Prabhupada said, again you see, these guys, they are having the same old mentality of hippies. Prabhupada said, this should not be entertained. That means, we should not be overly adaptable also. Yes, we can be adaptable to some extent. Like for example, some devotees asked me, in voice club, can we also include girls? Is it alright? I said, no problem in the college, because in the college, boys, girls, they attend DYS also sometimes together. Girls sit in one side, boys sit in one side, they can attend, no problem. Similarly, in voice club, I suggested that the devotees should not interact with girls. But girls can be a part of voice club in the college where they do activities. So the girls should be given some projects which they will do amongst themselves. And the boys will be given some projects which they will do amongst themselves. So don't mix both of them, leave them separately. And in principle, people like that we are not male chauvinists. They will know that we have included girls also. And in case some interaction has to be there, you can have some professor who is a married professor who can interact with the girls. Or if at all professor is not available, some Karmi boy can be, who is perfectly a gentleman, he can be allowed to interact with the girls. Our devotee should not interact like that. So this is adaptability, isn't it? Now if you are too rigid, how many lectures you have heard on girls, Prabhu? How can you ask this question? So no girls. If you are going to be extremely strict, then many college authorities become annoyed. Then sometimes the girls only protest, stop this club. Isn't it? So adaptability has to be there, but we have to be very careful. We have to know the consequences of being adaptable. Like Prabhupada in America started the Brahmacharini ashram. Some people criticized, some of his god brothers, why did you start a Brahmacharini ashram? The word Brahmacharini is not there in the Vedas only. There's only Brahmachari. The woman should always get married. But why did Prabhupada start? Because there was one small girl who was just 13 years old, Saradiya, disciple of Prabhupada, Saradiya. So this girl came to temple and she became a devotee very quickly. She used to go to college, and one day she came and told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, my college boys are always asking me, where are you living and everything. Prabhupada said, yes, give them the ISKCON temple address. When they come here, introduce them to the deities. Here, let them see the Radha Krishna deities. And then Brahmachari will shave them up. Let them come, Prabhupada said. So, once she came and asked Prabhupada, that Prabhupada, can I live in the temple? She asked. And Prabhupada said, no, we only keep brahmacharis in the temple. And then Prabhupada said, what about your father? Oh, my father has divorced and gone away. What about your mother? Mother also has gone away. She said, now I don't have anybody. I am living alone and I am troubled by so many boys outside. So she said, and that is the first time Prabhupada thought in America this is a culture. The people are living alone. And they have very free mixing culture. And devotee girls, if they live outside, they may be exploited. And then Prabhupada told them, okay, let us start a Brahmacharini ashram in the temple in one corner. You arrange a room where all women will live together, just like men live together. But men, women should not mix. Very strictly Prabhupada made the policy. So eventually those women became powerful devotees. And they did many, many great things for Prabhupada eventually. But somebody like Prabhupada only can handle such a situation. So he was adaptable. He gave Diksha to, like in the Shastras say you should not cross the oceans, but Prabhupada adapted it. Why they say don't cross the ocean? Because Kirata, Hunandra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumba, all are there, living there. So if you go there, then you will also degrade like them. So how did Prabhupada adapt it? He crossed the oceans, but he converted those people into Vaishnavas. You see? Although some Indian fanatical people would never adapt themselves. Similarly, when I was going in the train, one man asked me, have you not seen the Jain sadhus? They always walk wherever they go. How can you travel in a train? He asked me. I was going to IIT Kharagpur that time. I said, hey, from Pune to IIT Kharagpur, if I walk, I think it will take 6 months for me to go one way and give lectures for 1 week and come back for another 6 months. So do you think I should do that? He said, yes, you should do that. He said. I said, thank you for your idea. Then I continued reading my book after that. So Prabhupada traveled even by flight. Prabhupada traveled by car, he traveled by flight. So we cannot be fanatical. No, we are sadhus, we will go by walk only. Actually, if you are unadaptable, then we will not be able to expand the movement. So that is why he is giving the example of river, and he is giving example of a trapeze artist. It's explained here. It is the skill of changing. A leader with high talent of adaptability is ready to implement a change, similar to a trapeze artist who swings from one rod to and goes to the other rod and lets go of the first rod as he catches hold of the other rod. They have this art of changing from one and jumping to the other. Have you seen in circus? They will go like this in one side, and then they will leave that and take a above turn and catch the other side. Of course, sometimes they have a net below in case they fall. Yeah, isn't it? Sometimes there is no net also. Some people do without net also, they jump, and the whole audience is watching, and everybody wants to see when are they going to make the change. You have seen that? But sometimes they keep on moving like this 10, 20 times, and suddenly when he changes, everyone says, hey, just see, he's jumping, he's going to the other one. So everybody wants to see a change, he says. It is this skill of changing that entertains people. Similarly, a leader should not be stuck in the old ways of thinking and doing things, but be ready to adapt himself to switch over and catch hold of something new, to adopt new ways of thinking and functioning. For example, we have this Sankalp, Surti, Utkarsh. we keep modifying our topics also. You see, now we made small booklets also. I mean, thin booklets for doing the like workshop kind of booklets, where the speaker speaks for some time, then the audience writes some time. Then the speaker speaks more. Otherwise, in those days, it was a continuous lecture. It was like that. Then we made workshops. We made. Now some devotees wanted to introduce pre-sankalp, which is like a preparation for sankalp. That is pre-sankalp. So that as you do it, no problem. So now after sankalp, spurti, utkarsh, then we have, we have drishti, nishtha, ashray. So the drishti is actually called post-utkarsh camp. Sometimes we don't do it. Some voices do post-utkarsh also in order to solidify the voice. So people come up with ideas to make it better. Like somebody suggested me that our EVG book, especially PT course, if we can simplify the quizzes and make some maths the following, multiple choice questions and crossword puzzles, boys will enjoy it more. So now we are in the process of preparing that through some devotees. So we should be willing to adapt such kind of things instead of sticking to old ways, you say. Because sometimes the old ways may not work. Sometimes. Then we should be willing to bring about a change, adapt. So, like now, like for example, we have this bridging topics, we call it, isn't it? Like you have this Arjuna's 3 qualities. So these are all newer ideas. Why? Because we want to get people to come to Krishna consciousness. How to bring them? But while adapting, lot of thinking has to go on. Yeah. So here is saying Saturn Corporation, offshoot of General Motors, has a great policy. Employees sit in on the design planning of the car. Getting employees involved at all levels and giving them a sense of family and participation and remaining flexible to analyze and accept suggestions and improvements. All this will satisfy the employees, as almost everybody knows the top of employees' wish list, top priority is recognition, appreciation and creative freedom. Everybody is looking for these 3. For example, in General Motors company also and in Saturn company also, you see there are people working under the car, repairing the parts of the car, and those guys have hands-on experience with the situation. And there are supervisors who are ordering them, hey, repair this car, repair that car. And above dozens of supervisors, there are top people, who are accepting the money and giving out money, sanctioning money, managers, like that. And then there are MDs at the top, like that. So oftentimes the R&D department has more of theoretical knowledge than the practical hands-on knowledge. Like practical knowledge means where the tire touches the road. That is practical knowledge. Whereas the driver is sitting in the steering. He doesn't know what's happening at the tire touching the road, isn't it? So there are 2 people. One are the project advisors and there are others who are project managers. So the project managers and front lines, they are having hands-on. And the project advisors are they'll be sitting in ivory towers and planning. So the planning should include the inputs from the voices, like the PMs and the front lines. Their ideas and opinions are very, very important. Many times in the past I have given priority to a OC's idea or a PM's idea of doing something over my own ideas, or even ideas. I used to tell the leaders, PS also, ask them what they feel about this. Do they think it will work? If this is a good idea or something. And if somebody wants to bring about a change, they would write a mail and we would allow the change. Because certain changes have to be done according to college also. Like Tolani College now, we have Mangalarti in the evening. You know that? Mangalarti, Narsingharti. It's called Mangalarti, Narsingharti and Tulsi Arti. We do it in the evening. We don't do it in the early morning. Why? Because early morning, 5 o'clock, they have PT for about 1.5 hours. They have NCC and so many things. Whole morning is packed for them. So this is adaptability. Now somebody will say, no Prabhu, how can you do the morning program in the evening? Prabhupada will be displeased. Are at least kuch to kar rahe hain? Something they are doing at least. Which will please Prabhupada? If they do at least something in the evening or doing nothing. It is better to be strict Prabhuji, not doing anything. If somebody says, he is simply a fanatic. Isn't it? So sometimes we have to adapt according to the college need of the situation. Like PSCT college has a very specific type of schedules. Like Saturday is on for them. If they don't attend on Saturday, they have to pay fine and all. Big fine, huge fine they have to pay and all. So different colleges sometimes may have. So the people who are hands-on people, they should be given the creative freedom to come up with plans, and those plans have to be heard by the leaders, and they have to implement them. And appreciation for ideas, and recognition, recognizing a good work done, and appreciation. These things are the ones which people value more than salary also. More than incentives also, people value them. Here we give an example, a turnover of waiters. Sometimes the waiters are asked by the customers in a hotel, do you have paper roast dosa, or do you have pizza? And every time they have to say, no, it's not available, it's not available. So the waiters are people who are, directly handling customers. But if the top management asks the waiters, what are the people looking for? And then they note down and then they supply those items, then waiters will be happy. But oftentimes the waiters see that we are not heard at all. You understand, no? Similarly, the Saturn I was telling you. Yeah. This is what I was telling you just now. Some degree of flexibility in making decisions after giving some important guidelines. See, the seniors have to give important guidelines on what is to be done. And then after giving it, then we have to adopt flexibility. Like now I have given some program for boiling milk. I gave it to pack and they went through it. Now we have floated it down. Now when all the voices apply it, in the course of application they may face some problems. And then some changes have to be brought about in that. So leaders should know where, how, to what extent, and when to adapt. These are important. Yeah, you can tell this. What are the effects of lack of flexibility? What are likely to happen? Yes. No innovation, no creativity, and people feel choked, and people are passed down their throat. Whatever they don't like to do, they have to do it. There is nobody who is willing to hear any new ideas from them. And sometimes there are monotonous things going on. Like some people say, Prabhupada said that there should be a sandwich program, morning and evening. And sometimes they do a sandwich program, morning, evening. And daytime they go for distributing books, but there are nobody to buy books. So now in the evening when you go for preaching, when you go for distribution, you do much more actually you can do. So now when we want to make some changes, of course, it should not be whimsically done. It should be done with the consultation of the superiors and GBC and gurus coming together and planning when we want to make some changes or anything like that. But people should be willing to, like Prabhupada was willing to change also. Like when he came to India, he introduced this Harinam Sankirtan in Calcutta. But already there are hundreds of Harinam Sankirtan groups there. So people were throwing 1 rupee coin, 50 paise coin to our Hare Krishna devotees when they were doing Harinam. And Prabhupada said they are considering us to be like one of the Kirtan groups. Stop it immediately, Prabhupada said. Let us start life membership. Then he started life membership. So Prabhupada also adapted himself according to the needs of the place, time, place, circumstance. Like Prabhupada went to what was that place? Nigeria or Africa, somewhere he went. Brahmananda Prabhu was there. And Brahmananda Prabhu was preaching to the Hindus there, Indian Hindus. Prabhupada said, you are wasting your time. Prabhupada said, I wanted to preach to the local people. Hindus, you should use the Indian Hindus to give you money for the activity. And you should preach to the localites. Prabhupada said, not that you are very happy with the pious Indians and going back. You have to preach to the people of the country. And immediately they completely changed the vision altogether after Prabhupada told them. And it worked also. And Prabhupada said, just do kirtan in the temple. They used to sing in Swahili. Swahili people. So Prabhupada said, keep a very big door, keep it wide open, and do powerful kirtan, and all the passers-by will come. When they come, make them chant, dance, and feed them prasad. He said. And when Prabhupada said, I want to stay here 1 week and see how you do it. And then they did it. Within 1 week, they got hundreds of Africans coming. They came inside, they danced, they took prasad, and they were ecstatic. And then Prabhupada said, now you cultivate these people. Prabhupada said, these are the people we want. So Prabhupada adapted. Prabhupada taught also devotees how to adapt and everything. What are the likely dangers of total flexibility? Huh? Putting down the principles, dilution, watering down, huh? Krishna consciousness. Like sometimes, somebody wants to preach and preach and preach and preach. You are very flexible. You say that he is very enthusiastic, but then gradually he falls down himself. You see, because of total flexibility. Like I had made some policies that unless a person is attending morning program, unless a person is staying in voice or solidly situated, then only we can allow them to preach. Otherwise, what happens? Sometimes you allow a person to give one time and DYS and he keeps on giving, and over a period of time he falls down because he has not been fulfilling the criteria of a preacher. And why we also let them go on? Because they are doing something wonderful. So we should not be flexible about certain things. We have to be strict. Yeah, I think we are running out on time. Huh? How many have finished today? Two more. Probably will take one more class, I think. But the last three might go fast. So in the next class I will try to finish the 5, 6, 7, 8. One thing is team playing in this, which we will not talk in this, because that is a separate topic also. It will come later. So out of 8, only 7 we will talk, which means 5, 6, 7. This is discrimination. And decision making and responsibility. This team we will not talk about team, because team spirit is coming separately in another topic also. So next class I will finish this. It's all right? Yeah. Yes. What's your question?
Some people will not adapt because they lack the appetite to take risk. So
that will come in courage. That is the topic which is coming next. See, the beauty of these qualities is one is connected to the next. You see, if you have tolerance and love, then you can adapt. And when you adapt, adapting means accepting some new things, innovative things. Like we will always be criticized when we do new things. Like when I first started base system in Pune, a lot of opposition was there from many people actually. But I didn't do it whimsically on my own. I went to Maharaj. I told Maharaj, we are planning to send a couple of devotees to Kadakpur, brahmacharis. Some people are not happy with that idea. So, because they are going to go for, almost, in the beginning they will go for 2 months, and after that they will go almost 10-12 days in a month. And Maharaj said, do you think they are strong enough? I said, yes, Maharaj. Oh, if they are strong enough, if you are confident they are in touch with you, you can send. Make sure that they read chant properly. So it's an innovative thing. We have never done it before. We started an innovative thing and it worked over a period of time very nicely. So whenever you introduce a new thing, you need courage to introduce it, and there will be a lot of opposition from various quarters. We'll talk about it next time. And at the same time, we should not do it without the blessings of superiors. Generally, we may want to do it without their knowledge because we are doubtful whether they will allow or not. That is why we have to be thoroughly honest also. If we are not allowed, we should be willing to forego our idea also. So we'll talk about those things. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Thank you very much.